Back live tonight here on In Focus. Well, it's the Presidential Investment Conference tomorrow. It's part of trying to get more money and investment into the country. One of the provinces trying to attract more investment is KwaZulu-Natal. And my colleague Grootes spoke to KZN MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Siboniso Duma. Let's listen in.
Hello. Well, it's the Presidential Investment Conference tomorrow, another chance to try and get more money into our country's economy, try to create more jobs, try and get more income into more households around the country. One of the people who's going to be trying to attract, one of the provinces trying to attract investment, of course, is KwaZulu-Natal. The MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal is Siboniso Duma. Perhaps I should also mention he's the leader of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. He joins us now. MEC, good afternoon. I really appreciate the time.
Afternoon, SG. Thank you so much to your viewers at home as well. It's an honor to be here this afternoon.
That's very kind of you, sir. Firstly, after all of the turmoil, all of the problems that KwaZulu-Natal has had, is it still a good place for people to invest?
I'm sure you'll know by now that the global village has been affected. KwaZulu-Natal was not going to be an exception in the process. Yes, I think we've attracted more tourists over the last 3 days of the Easter holiday. We are glad. Almost the hotel you had, some of them were full. We are glad to announce that at least people see our place still as a relevant option for them to visit, and some of the first-time visitors in the province saying that, no, this is a nice place, the peace, there is stability, there is tranquility. Yes, there are still challenges that are still existing, but yes, we are ready to host more as we go down June and December.
What does KZN have to offer?
KZN offers the safari if you go to the northern bound of the Ish of Hlutluwe side. We also have the mountainous area in Drakensberg, which have been defined as some key points, as you might know. We also have the 300 coastline coming from Kosi Bay up to Port Edward. So we do offer some nice blue flag status as well, as you might know, and there are nice waves in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Yes, the issue of N2 and M3, that is giving us that offering of ensuring that on the road you are safe, you are able to transport, you are also to transit some of the GDP, some of the goods in the province.
The thing about infrastructure, I mean, there have been so many problems with infrastructure. Some of it's being rebuilt, some of it needs to almost be redone. How are you feeling about the infrastructure in the province at the moment? Without infrastructure, no one's going to invest.
Very true. I think we've come a long way. If you just understand the King Shaka Airport, which has become an aerotropolis, it is still one of the viable options to in and out in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We have just resurfaced a lot of roads that are new, designing the corridor. If you go to Richards Bay, I'm sure we have suffered. There is a rail line that comes from Botswana to Richards Bay. It is no longer there, which is why you see a lot of trucks. So we are building new infrastructure on a day-to-day basis, but the demands keep on pushing high. There are a lot of malls that have been built. There are a lot of stadiums that have been built in our areas. There are a lot of infrastructure like the issue of retail infrastructure, the corridor of Durban to Mooi River these days to Ashburton. You see a lot of things Toyota is even willing to move towards. There are a lot of even the hubs that have been built in our corridors.
The issue of safety. I mean, we know in KwaZulu-Natal there was the violence in 2021, Gauteng too, but largely in KwaZulu-Natal. We know that the country's having really an exploding crime rate. Murder is up dramatically. We saw what happened in Florida Road with the murder of AKA, very widely publicized. Is it safe for businesses? Is it safe for business people and their families? I'm
sure if you take the ratio of police, there are less than 200,000 against 61 million population. So the reality is that the scale is skewed anyway, but the reality is that the society must take the issue of security as the macrocosm, just like education, that we must be thorough, we must be holistic as communities, just to make sure that in the street, in the rural area, we should be the one building block of stronger moral compass within our families, because it starts there. I don't think that someone will come out of the province of KwaZulu-Natal and kill someone. So it means that the issue of the surrounding factors and the variables must be taken into account. But yes, we are trying. Yes, there are law enforcement agencies. Yes, the Premier announced that we'll be putting a lot of cameras. Yes, on internship, we must be creating a visibility and enrolling a strategy even of security claims around those areas. Yes, we are trying, but the time will tell when the communities are becoming more stronger and the families are being united in fighting the crime.
So there's a lot going on with KwaZulu-Natal. We all saw the violence in 2021. Very few people held accountable for it. Some people were inciting the violence. We all know who they were. They were on Twitter. You know who they are. And no one's being held accountable. I know there's some court cases. They're moving very slowly. The risk is that if people aren't held accountable for participating, fomenting, inciting violence, it could happen again in your province. Does that worry you?
I think at this point in time, SAPS is doing fairly a good job. It's just that, as you know, that once you arrest, the balance of evidence in the court of law is only that there must be a crime and it must not be refutable. I think that's what is critical. I think the issue of judiciary is also lacking because SAPS in some instances will arrest and they will just release on different technicalities. We are no longer worried that it will take place in the near future because it has been built and people know how much they suffered in township, in rural areas, so because they scrambled and others couldn't go to work, so others lost their jobs during that era and other firms had to go and leave the province of KwaZulu-Natal. I think our brain set are wired correctly because people are talking. You go to ranks, you go to the street, you go to even churches during the Easter. The message was clear. Let us promote our province. Let us ensure that we are known as the province with peace, as the province that is more enhancing towards attracting investors.
eThekwini. So, I mean, you know, if KwaZulu-Natal is going to work, the sort of biggest city there, the industrial area around eThekwini needs to work. Huge problems with sewage. Still, I mean, the mayor this morning confirming, I think it's 5 beaches in eThekwini, still closed because of sewage. Problems in the rivers. Why is this such a big problem? And I know the provincial government's been pulled into this in a court case too.
I think the issue of eThekwini is twofold. We're glad that probably a year ago they've built what you called aquatic pipes, the big pipes from the reservoir so that we can just also address. But the issue of water treatments, majority of them are old. The issue of maintenance. There is what is called spatial planning, what is called SPLUMA. I think it takes some time because the investor will find that there is a certain investor will come that I've got 2.5 billion. I want to build here, but the processes in the municipality will take some time. So let us capacitate that. I think the technical development within eThekwini has been at least given more leeway. I think Kaunda has got nice vision. He's going to address some of those imbalances at the level of province, because at the level of ATI in particular, we deal with environmental matters. So where to assist them, where to partner thoroughly with them and give them more capacity so that eThekwini must blossom. eThekwini is attracting more tourists because of 2 harbors, Durban Harbour, which is working nicely, complementing Richards Bay. So it is always critical. It must be viable.
I mean, in this court case, and I refer to it deliberately because, I mean, national government, one of the national government departments, says they did not take eThekwini's view in good faith when it came to money. This is a national department, ANC department, saying that the ANC council is not going to manage the money properly for issues that go back before the flooding. Do you trust the city of eThekwini to sort this problem out?
I do trust eThekwini, although I think we are polarizing a bit if you are saying ANC government. We are the ruling party, but not a ruling class. I'm sure you remember that.
Sure.
There are different variables. At the level of national treasury, there are some oversight model that is designed just to make sure 3 spheres of government in terms of integrated strategy and relations, we are working together, but we are clinical when it comes to consequence management. If eThekwini is not doing well, even at the level of the province, we don't grant them status. At the level of environment, I'm sure you know that we will tell them that the E. coli level is still high. We're not going to certify you. So we are working together, but we had the best interest of our people. We can't let our people to go and swim, then cry foul afterwards. So I think eThekwini slowly is rebuilding their brand, because even at the level of household, even at the level of human settlements, they used to build probably 15,000 in terms of human settlements. They've just gone down. So we are saying that let us revive that, let us rejuvenate. If there is a need to take even the retired engineers, so be it, just to make sure that we maximize the effort of service delivery.
And there's an election next year. You can answer this with your MEC hat or your ANC hat, it's up to you. The economy is vital in any election. KwaZulu-Natal, like the rest of the country, suffering at the moment, people losing income. How are you feeling about the election and the economy ahead of it?
In terms of the research and in terms of the numbers, we have done well even in wards like you go to Nongoma, Ward 11. we've accumulated and have more numbers. You go to other regions, as much as we have lost some of the wards in terms of the by-elections, we are doing fairly well, coming into in fact that the issue of COVID, July unrest and the floods, realistically was going to be addressed and dedicated towards the ruling party. So we still have to address those things. And there is a nice mood and the euphoria on the ground that people have started trusting the ANC leadership, although we still have to execute almost all the service delivery projects. There are low-hanging fruit. Some of them have been achieved. Some of them have been allowed in the SOPA, and other MECs will outline and give more optics element of what is going to be done. At the same time, we must, to the T, implement what is required by our people. Give them economy, give them more work.
MEC, I really appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed. Siboniso Duma, the MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal, speaking to us here on Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405.